Had to be in by the 10th. Had to be in by the 10th. What's that? Yeah. Because I put it in. Big workshops. One big night workshop. Come on. 1 a month. We skipped February or March. We didn't have one in March. That's probably gonna be a couple of Mondays. It's pretty long. The residential.
Hang on. Ready for tonight?
So you said it's not. It's not a.
Hello.
Yep.
And I follow with getting. Yeah.
If you need to do the last step, then I put it in.
Yep.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Whatever you need.
What is up here?
Yeah, I know, right?
Are there any more chairs?
I'm meeting tonight.
Whoops, almost forgot.
It was the fireman's banquet festival Friday night,
Yeah.
and my wife bought a dress in January. She remembered what it was coming up. I completely forgot.
Oh my God. Did you not go? And this was for what? The
Fireman's banquet.
banquet? Oh my
Yes.
God. Oh my God. So you missed it?
Yeah.
Oh geez.
I had it in here. It just
Oh,
didn't.
Look at it.
Yeah, must have been Saturday. Sometimes on Saturday.
I
don't-
have to, you know what I do? Every morning. No, I open up first and then I set alarms for myself.
Oh,
But during the day, it's like, oh, right, and
I should-
it's just like, gotta do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
it helps. I have a feeling that it need to extend the comment period if we have to break for the public hearing. What do you think?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
either town of Brighton or gonna be tonight. They're having the same problem.
Yeah, I bet Henrietta too is gonna have this same from what I read on
Brighton
Facebook.
has a reassessed since 2018.
Oh,
Most probably.
since 2018, that's a lot happened since then.
Absolutely.
Hey, Derek.
There's more seats
Sure.
available if anyone wants to sit down.
Fill in. No one wants to sit in the front of the class. We might just call on them.
Nobody wants to.
You get up and explain it. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, Dan?
Seen better days.
Yes, it is. Thanks, thanks.
I do like seeing people show up for town business.
That was exciting.
Yeah. I might just have to go buy some ice cream afterwards.
Mhm.
Yes.
We all have questions, you know, it's all. Yeah. Hi, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's relatively, it's a lot.
$3,000 assessment. $15,000 for 12 years ago. And I'm like,
Oh, 12 years ago,
I said,
okay.
"No, let's give you 20
Would
grand for
you
that."
sell?
Like, I'll see it later.
I'm out, I'm building too.
Like my rental house, it's
Oh, where's that?
right here at the Hamlet.
Oh, nice.
That's change. That was the 9 to 4 just 2 years ago.
Really?
So I kind of ignored the first one because I'm like, that's probably what it's worth.
Yeah, now like, wait a minute.
It's 950 square feet and it's just over half an acre, you know? Yeah, nobody's exempt.
Yeah, we're all got hit with it. I made my appointment to just,
Yeah, I got
you know, I just get your name in there to go. Yeah, I'll make my case. See what happens.
If anybody's here to speak at the public hearing portion of this, there's sign-in forms over there. If you wouldn't mind just signing in, so grab the form and take it up before they start the public hearing.
Oh, they're not here for the public hearing? Okay. Making light of a real concern for people, for sure.
Mhm.
It's not me, who's that? I already turned off my alarm.
Good evening. Welcome to the March 12th edition of the Rushtown Board Meeting. If you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we call
Yes.
the roll.
Councilwoman Morale,
Here,
Councilman Chase,
Here.
Councilman Brown,
Here.
Councilman Kies,
Here.
Supervisor Williver.
Aye. Here. I have a couple announcements. I got a letter from New York State Parks and Recreation and Historic Preservation. The home at 14 Meadowwood has been accepted into the National Register of Historic Places effective February 21st, 2025. And I got a letter from the Arbor Day Foundation. Officially, the town of Rush is now a tree city. We received a couple of signs that'll be going up around town. All right. And I imagine a lot of people are here about their assessments. I just have a statement. This is from the New York State Department of Taxation and Finance. Your property assessment is one of the factors used for local governments and school districts to determine the amount of your property taxes. All real property, commonly known as real estate, is assessed. Real property is defined as land and permanent structures attached to it. Examples being houses, office buildings, farms, and factories. A property's assessment is based on market value. Market value is how much your property would sell for under normal conditions. Assessments are determined by the assessor a local official who estimates the value of real property in a community. All properties in your municipality, except New York City and Nassau County, are required to be assessed at a uniform percentage of market value each year. We don't do it each year, but we have done it quite frequently lately. In other words, all taxable property in your city or town must be assessed at market value on or at the same time or at the same percentage of market value. We assess at 100% of market value. That's what we base it on. If you feel that your house is not worth as much as the assessor thinks it is after extensive research, please set up an appointment with her. And she's been driving around the last couple of weeks to get a kind of feel for everybody's particular house. See you could tell anything's been done to it. And she's done extensive research on every piece of property. So that's where we are. That's how the assessment went down. And if you have any comments, feel free. Anyone?
Catherine Hankins, 2353 Pinnacle Road. Can't disagree with anything that the supervisor just said, except that this is a total townwide reassessment that was endorsed by the town board on December 11th, 2024. As a taxpayer, I truly support fair assessments. However, this goal is not justification for the board authorizing 3 property reassessments in the past 4 years. When the town board authorized our last townwide reassessment, the process started in 2019, and it took 2 years to complete it. The town board allocated additional funds to the assessor for consultants, resources, and potential litigation. Residents were provided with a time frame and were actively engaged and well-informed. Each property underwent a thorough review, and the assessor utilized strategies including photos, drones, property owner profiles, and site visits. There was a well-defined process with effective, ongoing community engagement. As a result of the preparation work by our town assessor, supervisor, and board, there were very few informal or formal grievances, saving our town additional taxpayer dollars. The 2025 townwide reassessment is incomplete. The assessor needs more time and effort to do the detailed work that is necessary. Corrections to the tax roll should not be based on residents preparing and presenting grievances. It is simply unfair to require taxpayers to be stressed, forced to hire realtors and lawyers to challenge property assessments that appear to be founded on square footage, number of acres, incomplete property profiles, and limited and old sales data. Our town board needs to act and stop this process. The board can require the assessor to follow a prescribed townwide reassessment plan that adheres to the established guidelines set forth by our New York State Tax and Finance Department. December 11th to February 28th was not enough time to do it right. The past year, and especially considering the variety, it was not enough time, December 11th to February 28th, especially considering the variety of housing in our town and the volatility in the housing market in the past year and expected in the near future. Other towns in our area and throughout the state have taken 1 to 2 years to conduct their reassessments, just like our town did from 2019 to 2021. The town board may have been misinformed when authorizing this 2025 reassessment. At the December 11, 2024 meeting, it was mistakenly stated to the board that our town's last reassessment was in 2014 rather than 2021. This misstatement was not corrected, and it does not appear that the town board ever discussed or authorized a timeline to launch and complete this new townwide reassessment, or provide the details of the plan that would be followed, or a community education engagement plan, or provide any additional funding to ensure the reassessment would be done systematically and correctly. The January 15, 2025 public meeting titled Understanding Your Assessment does not appear to have been authorized by the town board and was only advertised by the January town newsletter. In contrast, the 2021 town reassessment was thoroughly discussed by the town board, and was properly supported during the budget process. Taxpayers were well informed and engaged for the entire 2 years. Our town board does not have the legal authority to rescind an assessor's assessment, but they do have the authority to require the town assessor to conduct a town-wide reassessment that follows the New York State Department guidelines and provide the time and necessary resources to complete the work. This is not a reassessment as usual. This is a town-wide reassessment based on 4 years. Our town board can request the assessor to utilize the 2024 assessment rolls for the 25-26 tax season and the need for informal grievances and the need for informal grievances. And they can take the time to allow the assessor to complete the townwide reassessment project for the 26-27 tax season. The town board can pass a resolution to require a systematic analysis plan and communication plan that guarantees accurate and updated property profiles and assessments based on the new 2025 data, rather than relying on 2021 to 2024 sale data and trend factors that may not reflect the current housing market in Rush going forward. The partnership with Henrietta, agreed upon in 2023, was intended to be positive, cost-effective, and fair for Rush taxpayers. Rush is very different from Henrietta. We are a rural farming residential community. New York State law does not require towns to have townwide reassessments or require a 100% equalization rate. I urge you to rectify the 2025 reassessment, authorize the assessor to use the 2024 assessment for the 25-26 tax season, and provide a plan and resources to complete a thorough reassessment in accordance with New York State guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else?
My name is John Van Roo, and address is 8089 East River Road. And I'm here tonight because last year, my assessment went up 72,000. And my assessment this year went up 199,000. That's $270,000 within a year, within 2 years. Now, my question is, how could that be so far off from 2021? Especially at this time of year, this time in the season where most in the United States, the market is beginning to level off, or in some places come down, and yet my assessment spiked. Then on top of that, we were told that the estimated taxes would be $10,800 for next year. So when I come to town boards, I hear that, well, it doesn't necessarily affect your tax burden. That's not true. The other question I have is that the way I understand this is the town board could have not voted for this. So my question is, where is the representation for the people from the town board? Is this truly all about money, or is this about the citizens that vote you in and that you represent? That's another question. The other question I have is, this was based, as Kathy said, on an assessment that was in 2014, when it was actually done in 2021. So the whole thing is based on something that's not real. So I too would ask you to reconsider. And I want to say one more thing. If she's been driving around the last 2 weeks, it's a little bit late to be driving around doing assessments after we've already assessed it. So that's not going to fly. This should have been done long before that. And as she also said, this couldn't have been done in 2 months for the whole town. She's a part-time assessor. So there's a lot of things that are not kosher about this. And what's happening, at least in our case, is you're forcing your people out of the town. And you're also getting a reputation as a town board. I'm not sure it's giving you a good reputation because people talk to other people. So I ask you to reconsider your decision. I'm not sure you should have made that type of a decision if you're representing the people of the town. Because this is not something that's popular these days, raising more taxes. It's extremely unpopular, especially with a retired community. There's a lot of retired folks in Rush. And I'll say this too, she is right. Each one of my neighbors have a different type of property. Some have horses, some have none, some have gardens, small farms. They're all different. You can't put them in to like a town like Henrietta where they have tracks. It's not like that in Rush. The properties are all different, so they should all be assessed differently. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Amber Corbin. I live here in Rush. I just like to let everyone know, I know I'm speaking to you, but hopefully they can hear me, that if you email the assessor and you request your 5 comparables, it will show that the 5 properties that your house is calculated on based on. I know that because I asked for it, being the assessor here in Rush back in the 1990s. I know how it works. So I wish that had been mailed out with the letter that went to every resident, because I think then many of us would have better understood how that price for our new assessment was calculated. And then you can compare that to the sales sheet that the assessor has for the last, 3 years, to see if you agree with the 5 that they are using, or if you can find one that now when you walk in for your 10-minute appointment, you can say, I wish you would use this one instead of one that's on that form. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dubak, 97 Woodruff Road. I'm also unhappy about my assessment, and I really don't understand the process and the fact that I have a 1,500 square foot ranch and it went up to 4. I'm too short. It went up. I built it 10 years ago. My original assessment was 170. I am currently just went up another 137. So my little tiny 1,500 square foot ranch is now, and it's builder grade. My son was in the hospital at the time. I'm just like, dude, builder grade everything. I don't even know if I'm going to be working. So there's no fancy counters or anything. And it's now $473,000. I do have 8 acres, but they're not road front. They're farmland with a lot of wetland for my horses. I have an outbuilding, but it's only 3-sided. It's not fancy. None of it's fancy. How is it 473? I just looked up what houses at Boulder Creek right now are, and a lot of them are right now, not with their assessment, at 413, 420. I mean, some of the bigger ones are 500, but I'm nowhere near anything like that. So it astounds me how that is. So my taxes have gone up almost 800, yet my friend who went up 88,000, hers went down 130. How did she go up 88,000 and her taxes went down? I went up 137. My taxes went up 800. One of my neighbors has 6 acres and an older house, but bigger square footage. There's only one up 54. Where's this all going? So their house is worth half of mine. The reality is I sold that house to them for the 170 and I bought mine for 170, and now mine is like insane. So I just think this assessment is out of line. It's random. I'm not sure how some people, I know other people who went up 200. I know some people who went up 30. I don't even understand how this is possible. So I do wish you would do, as Kathy Hankins said, and start over like Arundecoit did, and have it do a thorough assessment and not just go ahead and jack people up to the point where they can't afford to live here anymore. Thank you.
At the end of the day, the town is still only gonna collect at the most 2% more than the total amount that we collected this year. So it's not like we're taking in tons of extra money. It's just distributed out percentage wise across the entire town. Some people's are going up, some are going down. And if you have if you have a problem that if you have a problem with what the assessor has told you, you should talk to the assessor and she can explain it to you. I don't know how the process works. She's looks at each house and after years of experience, she estimates what it could sell for in the future. And that's what she's trying to do. And if you can show her that your house isn't worth as much as she thinks it's worth, then it'll be lowered.
But about 4 pages of houses that sold in since 21, maybe 10 out of 100 and something are over 400. So I'm not compared to anybody. Most houses that went for 4 were not 1,500 square feet for sure. So there's no rhyme or reason. I know you don't know how to do it, but you guys have the ability to say, hey, hold back and let's reassess. What are you doing?
You should talk to the assessor. She could explain it to you.
Look at how many people are here and how it's happened for years. You know, so that's just fine.
Thank you.
Chelsea Rowe, I'm a Howard Hanna agent. I represent John and Carol. And actually I'm Henrietta Rush, Henrietta Town. I live in Henrietta. Sorry, I live in Henrietta, so I'm also dealing with the same assessor. And I have to fight my own assessment right now. So I am finding the data does not support, and I am a data queen, just so I'm finding, if I listed their house, I cannot guarantee them that I would be able to sell anywhere near where the assessment is falling. And that's what I'm finding for all of the Henrietta residents and my own father, my husband, my ex-husband. I mean, this is a pattern from the same assessor that is Henrietta now in Rush. And from Irondequoit. It's if I can't sell the properties for where you're assessing them or where she's assessing them, we have a problem.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Would you mind going to the microphone? Sorry, just nobody else can hear it for recording purposes.
It's Tammy Kelly. I live on Middle Road. So I guess you just informed us that she goes back 3 years on these assessments, but the housing market was totally different 3 years ago than what it is now. It's kind of settled down a little bit. So what is the correct way of doing it? If I can pull 5 comparable houses in the last 6 months, is she going to use that data versus data from 3 years ago when the market was going crazy? Who makes that determination?
That's her job.
There's got to be rules in place though. So it's going to be totally up to,
that's what she's been hired to do, and she
okay,
has experience.
thank you.
Anyone else?
To that point, though, if you do go to our town assessor and you're not happy and she doesn't lower your assessment, we have a board of assessment review and they will review it. So it's not just up to her. We have a panel of Rush residents that will look over your case and look over your comparables, and they can make that determination also. One of them is a real estate agent. The other one is very good with numbers, understands the markets. A few of them have been on it for longer than I have any idea that they've been on that board for, and they will look over those cases and they can make that determination. Yeah. So it doesn't just fall on our assessor. If you do go to you're informal with the assessor and you're not happy with what you get there, then the next step would be to put a grievance in front of the Board of Assessment Review. And I believe, Alexis, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's May 29th. Is the,
it's around there. Last year we had multiple dates.
okay, so I think they need to be filed by May 29th. So there is
March
a
29th.
different, what's that?
March 29th.
29th of March or May? I thought it said May.
May, I think.
May,
Okay.
May 29th, yeah.
Okay.
So, so there is other avenues. It's not just based off of one person's opinion at that point.
You can also, after the board of review, if you're still not happy, you can go to the county. My dad's gone there several times over the years and whatnot. So that's the last resort option, but you can go all the way to the county and get a review of your taxes there. But we've got to go through the town assessment.
You guys could just say, let's roll 24 and give them proper time to do it correctly. You don't make us go through paper appraisals, all this work. Especially when it's obvious it was done wrong, several towns turned it back already. This isn't the first.
So will a board member make a motion to do that? I think we ought to.
Make the motion.
Stop for the year.
If we're all. Go ahead.
We'll make,
What's gonna do?
Are you making a motion to review the assessment with the assessor in detail to understand the process better and understand how she came up with the figures? That's
We
what-
could
Suspend-
roll back onto the previous assessed values
for 20
and further examine these.
get a year to do it.
That's fine. I'm trying to figure out what exactly you're
I
looking.
mean, it's obvious we have a lot of unhappy people.
But-
And I'm sitting out there with them, I'm here.
So while everybody's here, but we need to work through this a little bit also. So we still need, it still really does come down to some dollars and cents, right?
Once you roll back the assessment, it would be founded on 2024 assessment roll. And the
But your tax rate could increase on,
Sections that will remain with 93%. The tax rate is founded on what your tax levy is. In 2021, we went up 26% for the value of this town, and we made an effort to make sure that we went down 26% in the tax levy. That's, well, I just, but you.
Okay.
Okay.
well, Kevin, is that accurate?
Yes.
It is, but again, I want to make sure that you guys are, if you're gonna do that, I don't know if you want to do that before you have the conversation or after. That's all I'm just trying to get clarification on.
But just to clarify, because I was part of the 2021 reassessment. And there was a major effort by the supervisor and the town board to make sure that it did not impact taxpayers. At the same time, that we're coming from an 84% equalization rate that had been left from 2014, the year before. So the town assessor and his team, because we put in the money budget for drones, for photos, for litigation, just in case there would be this groundswell of people that didn't agree with their assessment. It didn't happen. Very few people had informal reviews or formal reviews. Why? Because the public was actively engaged. Maybe there's some of these assessments that are accurate, but the process is faulty. And we have, and I went through the process to fight for a gentleman who had land that was unusable, but it had been coded and classified as residential property. Extremely difficult. He had gone to court. He had put tons of money into it, and we still lost. I mean, I must have had a file like this. So people should not be forced to go to lawyers. They should not be forced to go to realtors. They should really be able to look at a process. So I've looked all over the place. I don't like to ever speak where I don't have a plan. And Hamlin, who just went through it, first they obtained new photos of all properties. They updated the data to ensure improvements were correct. They analyzed and tested all the valuation data. The residents received a report so that they could question whether their report was valid. They had it, then, if necessary, an informal review. It takes a year. It should have been launched in March, not finalized in March. There's no possible way that an assessor could go and review, just like Mr. Van Roos said, 1,800 properties in this town. Unless you're in Boulder Creek, Thunder Ridge, Nelson Parkway, maybe the Middle Road area, you do not have a house that looks like your neighbors. And for me, living in the Rush all these years, I like the diversity of housing, but I have a beautiful house. But if I live next door to another house that might need everything and is what it did for years, it doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. So each house has to be appraised on its own. So what can we do? Roll back to 2024, find the equalization factor that is calculated by the value of our town against the value of the properties, and appreciate that what the realtor said, our housing market is getting more stable and decreasing. The 4 properties that I looked at that sold from December to January, all of them had sold less than what was listed. It's a new age. And if we're going to have a 2025 reassessment, let it be founded on 2025 data going forward. Let it be founded on new trend data. I think the board tried to do the right thing, but it came out December 11th, and there's no way that they had the information. And I went back and listened to the tape. The assessor said the last assessment was 2014. So it's unfortunate, but we should not have our residents, our taxpayers pay the price. Has nothing to do with how much money you need to go forward for 2026. Nothing. Whatever you need, the taxpayers have to pay it. Whatever your plan is. But let's do it right. Let's just make sure that this assessment is something that everybody has had a part in. And the board, the last board, people followed that process for 2 years. Why did it take 2 years? Because of COVID. But the process was always in front of the public eye. Please make that choice. Thank you very much.
Roll back to 24.
You making the motion?
I'll make the motion. We roll back the taxes from 2025 to 2024. Tax rate. Now I'm kind of get out of my territory here. Tax rate to be the same as 24?
We don't
That
know.
works?
We're not gonna talk about the rate.
So
Just the
moved
assessments.
to roll our assessed values back to where they were at in 2024 and investigate. Look into a reassessment
For 2025.
for 2025
Over the next
To
year.
review the
and review.
review and create a process for the reassessment for 2020.
Defined by New York State tax, that it will be ready by next year.
Yeah.
Right. Year-long review. I'll second it.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
See, it's 7:15. We can move forward with the public hearing.
So as far as moving forward, we're gonna have conversations with Amy.
Yep.
And figure this out
Yep.
properly.
Yep.
Because like Luther said, I'm sitting over there as well as up here.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
I think,
We're saying that, so moving forward with this, we're gonna have to work with the assessor and develop this process as a town board. But as Luther said, and Derek and Gene, we're as much sitting out there with you guys on this as we are up here.
I believe we
So-
all also made appointments.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So it,
Thing to do, and the process, I can give you other examples.
so,
It's just for the people in the.
Always work for you.
so
I agree. We
thank
need
you,
to
everybody, for your comments.
evaluate the
everyone.
process.
Thank you. We're going to move on.
Public hearing.
Yep.
Moving on to a public hearing on the amendment to the code regarding commercial districts.
You want me to read the publication notice?
Yes, please.
You want to wait a little bit? Well,
Yeah, because no one's gonna hear anything.
So. On-street parking for the commercial districts, we didn't have any signatures.
So for
I
the
didn't think it
public
could be done.
hearing,
I
please
wasn't
take
smart.
notice.
read-
A public hearing will be held by the Rushtown Board at the Rushtown offices of 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, on the 12th day of March at 7:15 local time, for the purpose of amending the Town of Rushtown Code, Chapter 120 of the Code of the Town of Rush by amending Section 12012 Commercial Districts and 12057 required off-street parking of the zoning law. At such hearing, any person may be heard in favor or against the amendments as proposed at this time and date. And this was provided in the Sentinel and posted in the appropriate areas.
Thank you. No one signed in on the sheet to speak. Anyone?
For the commercial district. You signed in on the off-street parking.
There's two.
Did you do? Yes. Okay, that's fine.
No. Catherine Hankins, 2353 Pinnacle Road. I couldn't really review it because I couldn't see what was changed. I did my best to try and see it on the town code. I picked up, I just couldn't find did you change a the to an or did you change something? And what I'm looking for is what I presented last time, this maximum of 10,000 square feet that was in the commercial code. How did it change? I can't find any reference anywhere that we ever had a limit anywhere in our town, 10,000 square feet for a building. All I can find is, compatible use in the comprehensive plan, and that's my interest. But whenever I have had experience with updates of zoning, which has been always really important to Lee and me in our business, when we was to make sure that we never had a customer come in and not plan for what was going to be in their backyard. So I suggest that you can listen to whoever you want, but without that kind of information, we don't know what the changes are being made. And now we have the Hamlet rezoning that I think needs to be revisited. And I don't know whether this should be revisited, but we should always have the changes posted. And maybe they're there somewhere, but I didn't see them in this. I didn't see them, so I came early enough to see them, but I can't find what's the change. So
Were they posted?
If I could answer that a little bit. The code committee did meet on a number of occasions with the town board at public meetings. And there is also a PowerPoint presentation that explains everything. And all of that information has been available to the public on the website. If someone can't find that, please give me a call and I'll direct you to that. But as far as keeping up with what's changed, what's not changed, and putting too many revisions on the website, I think that would be more of a confusion. So if the town board wants to go one by one to say what has been changed.
Either that or I can create, we've got a red line that shows the
Yeah.
original versus what's changed. We can post that as well when it's in final form, if that would help. But I think what Pam was alluding to is, it was my understanding that had been provided as we were doing the workshops and rolling it out to make sure we could get input at the time. But certainly it's something that we can post in addition to the clean version, just for.
So
So you want,
there'll be two versions then if we continue to do that, because what I need when I send it into the state is a clean copy of what is actually approved.
we leave the public hearing open, post.
Do that, certainly.
Post.
Yep.
Okay,
And we can do that for both. So you would just continue the public hearing, keep the public record open until, if you want to do it the next board meeting. And
yeah,
then we
we'll,
can,
we'll do it and have a review again at the next town board. The,
I think we're gonna, it sounded like they're gonna table it, so people had a chance to review it, so the public could review the changes to the extent there's further questions.
same with the off-street parking, we'd like to
If we're
read
gonna do one,
the,
might as well
the
do it.
notice.
If we're
and
gonna
we'll-
do it, that might as well be the process going forward, just
Yeah.
to.
I'll have Pam read the notice for the parking, off-street parking too, and we'll continue that till the next meeting.
So I think you should make a motion to continue the public hearing until whatever the date's gonna be, and we should schedule it for, 7:15
Yeah.
to resume it.
Does anybody want to talk about any of it? Whether here,
Is there anything? There was,
you had two people in one.
that's on the park.
Phyllis, your name was on, but did you want the commercial or are you parking?
Well, now I vote. It was just parking, but now I vote.
Okay,
Can I at least say something?
Sure.
sure.
I didn't mean to cut, I wasn't saying just to cut anybody else off, I was just saying that's what we were saying.
Okay.
Phyllis Wickerham, 105 Biondo Court. The first thing I want to talk about is the commercial use. I am going to defend the town board because there were several workshops with the codes committee, with Mr. Strock, giving the town board all of the information that they asked for in what was necessary to change the commercial code, or the commercial districts portion of the codes. I think that it was very thorough. All of it was available on the website. I have the PowerPoint pulled up on my computer right now because I was going to go down through if people made comments I wanted to see. So I'm going to defend it to the town board. It was all there, but anyways, I pay a lot more attention than most people. On the parking spaces, I only have one comment that I have a question on. Multiple dwellings. In the multiple dwellings description and the required spaces, it says that 2 parking spaces for each apartment or dwelling unit to be contained in such structure. 1 such parking space per apartment or dwelling unit shall be within an enclosed garage. That is the last time that is said. So why is it that an apartment complex needs a parking space within an enclosed garage, but a 1-family dwelling does not, a 2-family dwelling does not, or any other dwellings in the multi-use hamlet district do not?
That's a, excuse me, that's an oversight. It should
Okay.
be the same, but
All right, so
not
that's,
required indoor.
that's the question that I would like to see it in all. But why does an apartment unit need indoor parking? That is, I mean, I think that that's ridiculous.
We've had the discussion about single family.
Okay,
The other thing too is this is the town of Russia. You got families of 4 and the kids grow up. Now you got 3 cars versus 2 cars. There was a lot of discussion on a lot of this.
okay. Well, it
It's not a
just,
perfect world.
well,
Try to come up with
one, we don't have any parking. We don't have any,
something. Anyway.
we don't have any apartment units in the hamlet anyway. I mean, apartment complexes. We don't even have an apartment complex. Anyways, all right, that was just my note was that why is it good for one but not the rest? So thank you for making sure that that's an oversight.
In the, going back to the commercial districts, I know we had this discussion before, but a landscape and landscaping, number 9, the commercial districts. A landscape plan shall be prepared by a licensed landscape architect and shall show both seal and signature. The planning board may hire landscape consultants as it deems appropriate, and such fees incurred by the Rush Planning Board shall be paid by the applicant, and plus a current administration fee. I just have a lot of problems with the planning board having the ability to hire an architect for the landscape around the building. Don't most buildings come with plans for,
I agree with you on that.
That's what we talked about, as I remember, and then it was said that we already have in there on. Under that same number 9 landscaping, section B. It's 1% of the total cost of the project has to go towards landscaping, and I thought we kind of figured, well. With that happening, if that would take care of that landscaping issue.
That's only if they didn't do it or something.
No,
They came in with no landscape.
if they came in with no landscape, then you would
1%.
tell them you have to come up with a landscape plan, and it's gotta be 1% of
Right,
the cost of that project.
right, that's how I,
Yeah, and that's how it's worded here, but I don't think we need to have the planning board being able to hire a landscape consultant and then.
that's the part I
And
have
then
problems with.
require, then, but we also require that they already. If you require that, then that
Then,
business should
then you
be,
don't need the,
We don't need to say
plan, the
that.
planning board. to-
yes. That's how I remember the discussion going.
yep,
So in the last sentence in number 9, you're proposing to be 9.
9A.
Should be omitted from it.
9A, like the
Yeah,
planning
9A.
board, the last sentence should be taken away.
But we're keeping. The landscaping plan shall be prepared by a licensed landscape architect and shall. Show both seal and signature.
Yeah, and that. When covered with B. All projects shall have landscape equal to minimum expenditure.
Right. Any other comments while we're holding this open to do this? Because I want to make sure that this is not under these 2 code sections, but it's related and we talked about it and it's kind of in our notes here. Under definitions. And it has to do with paving. And it was recommended that section 120-5 include some definitions about paving and making it pervious and permeable surface. There's a whole thing that we came up with, that the code committee came up with, and we all agreed, because in the section on
Off-street parking.
on off-street parking, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there is section C needs to be corrected. Is it? Hold on, 1 second.
right.
Okay, section C. There is in the 3rd line, it talks about the area and shall be surfaced. We had taken out that word and said paved versus surfaced. And therefore, we need to put what paving is under the other code section. And we have the wording, the suggested wording for that, which will allow,
Porous.
porous paving.
Hard surface.
Porous
hard
surface.
Right. So, and that's all in that, if you look at what was provided to us on the write-up for the off-street parking, the top half of that talks about this other code section 120-5, and it's really just adding in definitions paved and pervious and or permeable surface to be included in that section, because it relates back to this when we talk about what is a paved surface. You can go back and look it up, so it's connected. And there's also, we did take out under that same paragraph C, except for single-family dwellings or farm residences and buildings, period. Because after that, we talk about asphalt, Portland cement. We completely took that out. And because we're putting in, it'll be paved And then with reference back to that other section as to what's defined in that. So if we need to do we need to do another notice and hearing about those, adding those definitions to 120-5?
Well, that wouldn't be a note in the new local law. That would just be a subsequent local law to change that code section.
That's what I'm
And
asking. Do we need to do that?
Yes,
Okay.
we will have to do that at some point in the future to make sure that those two now match.
Yeah, so that it comes back. If you're looking that up, we gotta be able to find it. Okay,
So then surface will be paved, will replace word surfaced, and that
Yeah.
sentence will end after the word building.
correct.
And then paved is defined as you
Yeah,
described in that.
Under
section
120.
120.
And you have it in what was provided to us by Scott Strock from the Code Committee.
Yeah.
It's right in
Yeah.
the markup copy where we needed to do that, so to make this a complete thought process.
Hi, Marianne Rizzo, Stoll Road. Regarding the landscaping. I would like to hear from the code committee and the, maybe the planning board has already weighed in with the code committee, because they put this in here for a reason, what you just had discussed. A landscaping plan shall be prepared by a licensed landscape architect and shall be show both seal and signature, so you're not dropping that. But the planning board may hire a landscaping consultants as it deems appropriate, and the fees would be paid by the applicant. So I think there's a reason why this was put in here, and I guess, because I think the objective, I think the first thing you look at is, what is the objective? And I think the objective is, we want to have some good landscaping in our town. And if the first plan sort of fails, the landscaping plan, and maybe the landscape, the developer says, oh, I'm going to put in 17 trees. And, you know, they're going to be this kind of trees. But then the planning board, I think, should be, I'm glad they put this in here because it's kind of holding us to a higher standard. And why wouldn't we want to be held to a higher standard and have a more beautiful community? So I guess I would like to hear from the planning board and the code committee when they propose this before you strike it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment that under the commercial building process here, you're gonna read where commercial district buildings won't exceed 50,000 square feet. Don't confuse that with a multi-use in town, which I think that does have a 10,000 square foot. So there's the difference between this and what we have in town here for the multi-use area. Okay, that's.
Right.
I'm lost.
Anybody else?
I think I caught the things that I jumped out at me.
That was off-street parking, correct?
Yeah,
Phyllis's off-street parking is under spaces required. Multiple dwellings, we're gonna strike one such parking spot per apartment or dwelling unit shall be within an enclosed garage. We're gonna strike that to make it consistent with the rest of the
And remove the enclosed garage
Yes,
section, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That's what we talked about at the
yeah.
workshop.
But the other paragraph is following all that, those listings, Derek. In here. Yeah.
Make a motion.
I thought we
to-
did leave, we left that.
Enclosed?
Yeah, because the example was like a townhouse.
I thought that we took it because it was consistent with.
I would have to look at my notes, but I thought for that example, we'd left that section because for the example of a townhouse track.
Yes, well, we're gonna leave this public hearing open. I guess we can compare it back, but I thought
Yeah, if you
that,
wanna go back.
I thought
Okay.
that we, I thought that we did that because it,
I just remember having a lot of
because it
conversation
made
about
it,
that.
right, and I thought, and we did go back and forth and it was parking, the number of parking spaces and the enclosed garage, but I thought that we,
Because I remember starting the conversation about a single family dwelling and even a two-family dwelling, but I don't remember. I almost remember leaving that for the example of a townhouse
okay,
type setup.
all right, well, we can, like we said, we're leaving it open so we can touch back on that.
So we need a motion to leave.
Yep.
The public
Continue the-
hearings open.
Continue the public
Yep.
hearing. Leave the record open and continue the public hearing.
Or
I
continue.
so move to leave the public hearing open until
26.
our March 26th regularly scheduled town board meeting. The public hearing will commence at 7:15.
Yep.
Do I have a second? Yep.
Second.
Councilwoman Raleigh,
Aye.
Councilman Kies,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Boulevard.
Aye. Moving on to approval of the
Actually,
abstract.
that would, you have to open the public hearing for the parking spaces, because we, even though we jumbled the conversation, we never opened that public hearing. So we should open it so we can have a motion to continue, just to keep the record clean.
Pam,
Sorry.
would you read the motion?
It's the same note,
was it?
the same note. It was in
Oh,
the
I'm
same
sorry.
notice.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
If
we're
it-
good.
So if it was in the same notice, couldn't it be within the same resolution to keep them both open?
If as long as it was in the same notice, because I wasn't sure if there were two separate notices.
Okay.
I apologize.
Go ahead.
So, Stoll Road. Couple of things I've said to you before, but I sort of would like some answers. It would be really nice to have Zoom participation because, again, I'm a teacher, so I always think of what's the objective? And that's where the teachers started. What's the objective? So the objective is citizen participation and citizen access. I know that the citizens can have access through YouTube, but the citizens cannot have access through Zoom. So that like here, only the people who are employed by the town, as I understand it, can come to Zoom. So I would really like to increase citizen participation and citizen access. So I would encourage you to please allow people to come back to Zoom and to participate through Zoom. I've met some people recently, they have small children, some of them are here today. Small children or they're elderly, different weather that happens. I think the more voices, the better. The greater access to citizens to voice their opinions during the meeting, the better. So I would encourage you. I know like I said before, we had a pornographic event one time, but that's no reason to stop having citizen participation on Zoom. Is there a reason why you're not doing it?
This isn't a question and answer period, just a comment.
Okay, so the other comment I have is, again, the objective being citizen participation. And so
adding back the public comment period at the end of the meeting, I think would be very helpful. A lot of things happen during the meeting. And I think the citizens would like to speak at the end of the meeting. I think that would be simple to do. If you really want to hear from us, the citizens, we're not the audience, we're the citizens. Want to hear from us, please add that public comment at the end of the meeting. A couple other things I want to talk to you about is quality of life and empathy. And I'm going to talk about the Dollar General. I'm going to be brief. So I want to encourage you to have empathy for the people who are most primarily affected by the proposed Dollar General. As I said before, 10,000 square foot limit is way too big for the hamlet. But I know the reason the Dollar General is here is because you've already approved the 10,000 square foot limit. It's way too big. It's not commensurate with other buildings that are already in the hamlet, which is in the comprehensive plan to be commensurate. And so I've already said that, but I want you to have empathy for the citizens, especially the primary stakeholders. And I use that term. I don't know if anybody else uses that term. The primary stakeholders of the Dollar General or whoever lives closest in the vicinity. And I want you to have the empathy to think about if you invested all your life savings, or you're about to invest it because you took out a mortgage, all your life savings, and you've put down your roots in this special town. And now you've got somebody encroaching that could change the quality of your life. And I'm talking about the people on Nelson Parkway. I've said this before. Nelson Parkway, I've started to talk to people on Pleasant Road. And if those lights are glaring into your front window, and then in fact, people on Nelson Parkway, these lights, because there's only going to be one or two bays, and they have the big 18-wheeler trucks or whoever's coming in, the diesel, the lights, all hours of the night, and the noise of the engines. Children's bedrooms. There's a woman with twins over there. Children's bedrooms are right there. So her quality of life is going way down if this happens. Another woman on Nelson Parkway, her bedroom's right there. Again, with the wetlands and the tributary, I'm asking you to think about the quality of life and have the empathy to put yourself in that place of the primary stakeholder, just like with the Jack Moore proposal. There are people here who are the primary stakeholders. And like I said, 7 people signed that petition out of 114. That's what the people who did the survey or the petition said, that they are the primary stakeholders in that vicinity. And I'd like you to just have empathy with those primary stakeholder citizens. But I am asking you right now, because this is at the door of the zoning board for the Dollar General, because they're asking for some very severe variances. I'm asking you as a town board to do whatever you can to empathize with and maybe meet with them, the people on Nelson Parkway and right in the beginning of Pleasant Drive. And I'm asking you to meet with them and to do whatever you can to help them so their property values and their quality of life do not go down. Thank you.
Hello, Katie Rice on Nelson Parkway. I'm one of those people. I'm also pregnant and planning for our first child, which with a bedroom facing that area. If there's a way to send the video to, I also emailed you all, hello. If there's a way to send you a video, it's also on our town page. I posted it, maybe you saw it, but the stream just from a small sprinkle of rain was like flowing real fast the other weekend. My neighbors and I are being aware of the rain this weekend, and we're very concerned about the flooding. I'm sure it's on your minds. I hope it is, because it is very significant as it is. I was just talking to my husband if we should buy a pump and all the things. But it is significant, and there's, as you know, a large amount of woods as it is right there behind the land, which is mostly on that proposed property. So I really hope that whenever the seeker study is done, it is very thorough, and we will be hopefully monitoring that to make sure it is done properly. But I agree, and I thank you for being aware of us. I've talked to many neighbors. I've not had a single person who doesn't want this, and they're all very concerned. As you all know, there's very significant flooding in that town, and I actually worry about this building as well. That stream was flooding right towards here. And I know that there has been construction done on the intersection, or I don't know if construction is the right word, but trying to make that better, but there's a lot of water that's flooding already. But I just ask you to please monitor and make sure that, again, I'm not as familiar with how all these things work, so I'm finding out my ways. But please do make sure that the seeker study is very thorough, because this flooding, I think, again, it's only a matter of time before it's coming back. And if there is more paved property in a very large building, I do fear where our town will go. But thank you.
Thank you.
Encourage you to go to the zoning board and planning board if it ever gets there.
Yes.
You know, if they move forward, if whatever happens at zoning, we don't control the vote of the zoning board.
Yes.
I may agree 100% with you, but I can't tell them what to do. You have to tell them how you feel and make yourself known
Thank
to
you.
the impact.
That actually reminds me, I appreciate the point about Zoom, is because I am still quite nauseous and I cannot always come. So I am on medicines trying to make my best to be here, and I work long hours. So I'm coming as many as I can, but there is also ways for Zoom, and I'm happy to help navigate that if that's helpful. I work at the hospital, and you can make people register so you have access of who they are. So if there is another event, you know who that person was, and could follow up, but there are ways that you can make it more monitored. I'm happy if there's something I
Have
can
you
do.
sent your email to them?
Who? I'd be happy to.
It's on the website, I believe, on the Town of Rush website.
To
For the zoning.
Yeah. is it-
Oh, yeah. I've been talking to them actually, but
Okay.
I mean
I'm
about
just
like,
saying that I want you to be heard. And please,
I mean the Zoom comment I meant for any of our meetings, if we can make that happen, I'd be happy to help.
She's talking about the Zoom being a registered person and allowed to. I was denied by former board members to do that. So that is why we never did that.
All right, moving on to the approval of the abstract.
Okay. That was me this time around.
Yeah.
I so move, having reviewed all vouchers on abstract 3-1, March 12th of 2025. Authorized payment totaling $28,970.57, which includes Fund AA General for $17,961.35. Fund DA Highway for $10,682.79. And Fund LL Library for $326.43. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morelli,
aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye. Moving on to report of town board members. Deputy Supervisor Chase.
Approval minutes.
Approve the minutes.
Oh,
We didn't do
minutes,
that yet.
minutes came out late. Did they?
No, we had
Oh,
them.
I read them.
I read them
Probably read them.
a couple of days ago, I think.
I didn't see any
Okay.
issues with it.
Should we move forward with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody-
Yeah,
Okay, so I so move to approve the town board minutes of February 26th, 2025, as submitted by Deputy Town Clerk Buchanan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
aye. Now report of officers.
Not anything huge on my end. Last Saturday night, my wife and I did attend the past officers banquet that the fire department put on. I think this is the third year, I guess, that I've gone to that. They always do a nice job with that. And it's it's a nice dinner that they put on, so I appreciate them inviting me and my family, my wife and I to that, so. Thank you to those guys. They put in a lot of work and we as a town really appreciate everything that they do, so. That is all that I have to report.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Nothing new, thank you.
Councilman Brown,
Nothing to report.
Councilman Guys.
I met with the solar group last week. And we reviewed Scott's stuff. Did really a great job of finding other town laws on the solar and on the PFAS that and how it develops. A couple things we learned on it. And we're actually starting to look at the ones and twos or A's and B's. I don't know how I forgot how it's together. The small scale ones. But should they burn, that stuff dripping into the ground is PFAS. And a lot of them I come up with their own wells. So they're gonna directly affect their own well, the neighbor's well. So they're gonna be meeting with the cold committee. And like I said, we went over a lot of what we projected would be a good addition to put into the code for this. And I know Scott, John, Limbeck, they got some good ideas, and I think we're all on the same page pretty much. It just got to tighten up some of the wording and make it work. We did take a lot from the town of Avon. We did that because we border Avon, and why it changed a lot of the dynamics there. Keep it consistent. So that was a very productive meeting, I felt. Hopefully when they meet with the cold committee, it's productive there. I guess that's really all I got.
Okay, thank you. Pam,
I could have a report. I received the supervisor's monthly reports for January and February and passed them along to the town board members. We have processed for town and county taxes, $4,563.01 or 56 cents. And the town clerk January monthly report was provided to the supervisor with a revenue check for $14,630.22. And state agencies revenues checks were supplied in the amount of $113.46. The town clerk February report was provided to the supervisor with a revenue check for $24,089.80. And state agency revenue for $71.50. And we did put out an engineering bid, and pursuant to the RPF, we received on March 10th, 2 of them, which were distributed to the town board for review.
I didn't get it.
we just got it.
Oh,
It's in your folder.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kevin,
Nothing to report, Supervisor.
DJ,
Currently at town highway department, we're in the process of taking down all the snow fence. We're, hoping that the snow is completely done. We've made one pass through town on all the town roads to fix potholes and patch them. We've been assisting the Monroe County on their roads in patching their potholes. I've reached out to the state of New York to try to get them to get out here and fix some of them that are pretty bad on the state roads, so.
okay, thank
Thank
you. Well, DJ's here. He's been working on the clock. Got a meter to it. It's hooked up, but unfortunately the control mechanism in the bottom of the clock is burned out, so we're gonna have the clock repair person come again.
Oh, my God.
There's one guy that repairs those clocks, and he's in Watertown, and He makes a loop as needed, so. We're gonna get on the list and get him out here, so it gets turned on.
Bad luck.
We are currently on his list, so.
Okay. Well, the problem was the connection at the pole was loose. And so it would come on. And we'd think it's good and. He'd come and fix it and then the wire would come loose and it would go out. And then when it came back on, it would burn out the mechanism, so. But now it's hooked up to what should have been in the very beginning and should be good. Met with the tree advisory board. They discussed they want to have a tree contest, at the town, fall festival. They got 4 different categories for trees. They're accepting applications. There should be details in the newsletter coming out in April. And they have been, the town of Rush has been declared a tree city through their efforts. Moving on to old business. I need to approve, we have a new map with zoning on it, and also the current, that one also has a floodplain to it. We set out the hamlet to make it easier to read. So we need to approve that as the official zoning map for the town. There's one addition that needs to be made with the overlay district for the Helios Solar project. That we passed that, but the state didn't like the numbering of the law. Kevin, how did that go?
I think in looking back at it, and I've got a couple calls in at the state to clarify and correct it. We submitted multiple local laws in the same day. And we received a letter, and this is in particular 8 and 9. We received a letter that approved our local law 8 and our local law 9 was regarding this particular overlay. We got a letter on this date, the same day from the state saying we have to reject your proposed local law because the numbering's off because there is no local law number 8. Meanwhile, on the same day, local law 8 had been, it had been actually accepted 4 days prior, but the letter is on the exact same date. So I've reached out to them to say, I think you've just made an error based on these 2 letters, but I have not gotten a response yet. But we'll get that clarified so that it'll be effective, and it should be local law number 9 of.
And then the county can redo it and add that in. Great. I like the blowout of the hamlet. I think
Yeah.
that's very helpful.
Yes.
I so move to approve the town of Rush, Monroe County, New York zoning map dated February 2025 as the official zoning map. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Kies,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Willifer.
Aye. Moving on to new business, we need a resolution to set up a town board workshop to start working on the residential code. Generally do it on the first Monday of the month, which would be April 7th at 7 o'clock.
Does that work?
Well,
I'm not gonna second it.
Not for Luth.
eight Monday.
Go with fire department.
We're gonna read it anyways. I so move to schedule a town board workshop on Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 7 PM at the town hall offices located at 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York. 14543 regarding Rush Town Code, residential R-20 and residential R-30 districts. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Kies,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Willifer.
Next, we have approval to purchase highway equipment, DJ.
You guys got the breakdown of what we're looking at doing here.
No, no.
Thank you.
So the cat salesman stopped in probably about a month ago. Apparently the state of Massachusetts had purchased 40 brand new backhoes prior to the first of the year. When the first of the year came, they refused them because they weren't gonna pay. So Milton Caterpillar was sitting on 40 brand new backhoes that now they have marked down by, I think you can see on them sheets, by a considerable amount of money. At the $43,984.26. So I mean, the first deduction is 45,000.
Excellent.
Extra discount price because of that is $30,900.
And that includes the, that trim package that's listed up
Yes,
above?
everything that's included on that. So, initially this backhoe lists for $208,000.
Yeah, I see that.
So they've got 40 of these machines, or I'm assuming are selling them fairly quick at this point. I guess the reason I would want this machine is that the town of Wheatland also has the same machine that they had bought last year. Also does the town of Mendon. The town of Wheatland has a broom for the front of theirs, which would hook to this machine that we would,
Borrow.
because we work in a shared services or municipal agreement program, we'd be able to borrow it and use it on our backhoe.
So we got the quick coupler.
Quick coupler, it's got a thumb on the hoe, extend a hoe, 4-in-1 bucket. It's a whole,
That's quick coupler too, or
yeah, yes,
or a clam bucket or,
it has a clam bucket on it,
okay, perfect.
so.
Do we have, an older similar?
Yes,
that
we
we
have
can
a similar
sell?
one that's now 20 years old this year.
Is there value something we could
There
get?
is, Milton Cat had quoted me $16,000 in trade-in. I thought that was pretty low. I think we can do better, selling it through a municipal auction or online at a municipal auction. We always have that 16,000 guarantee. So when we go to list that thing at the auction, our bottom line could be 16,000. We always have that guaranteed by Milton Caterpillar.
So that would be the plan, is to sell it
Yeah.
then, the old one,
Yeah, I
and
think we can do better than that.
be great.
Deej, I know you've been working on like a replacement schedule.
Mhm.
When was this backhoe?
This backhoe is scheduled for next year, but due to that whole ACT thing with the trucks and wanting to make them electric, we kind of back in last October, November, I believe it was, we'd signed up to get a new truck in 2026, which would have pushed this back. So, we're just kind of updating this by a year because we will have that truck to pay for next year. And yet again, we are replacing a piece of equipment that is 20 years old.
And it's in the budget, you're saying we have?
Yeah, so there's 100,000 in the main part of the budget. There's also 80,000, a little more than $80,000 in our townwide drainage budget. And which this machine is typically used probably 70% of the time. We would take the remainder of the $43,000 out of the townwide drainage to pay for it.
I guess in my opinion, just looking at the numbers, especially since it was something that was on the schedule here to get updated in the next couple of years. They're not gonna get any cheaper.
Definitely not.
And if we can get pretty decent deal on a brand new one, because another municipality backed out of a deal.
I mean, the other piece I think about is where you, because when we started this process with pickup trucks and dump trucks and everything else, and the loader, the whole idea was to get the fleet up to date, more or less. But hence why we bought a used dump truck, the small one.
Yep.
A used loader. I mean, this is a new piece of equipment that'll be around for another 15, 20 years.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, how much closer are we getting to a point where we're in a good spot where we're not buying? You know, I mean, like we're getting good trade for trucks that are possibly only 10
Yeah,
years old,
the-
stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So we're on a better cycle than where we were at.
The pickup thing's gonna take 4 or 5 years, because I mean, the one we're going to be, with the pickup that we are also getting this year. I mean, that one is a 2012. There is not a lot of value in that pickup.
Yeah.
I'm just saying is, we are headed in the right direction and we've done the right thing by, purchasing some used equipment that was a lot newer than what we had to get us caught up. I would think within, 8 years, we should be to the point where we are trading things in for a good trade-in price. And rotating it through. It's to the point now where some of this stuff is costing us a lot of money just to maintain it yearly to keep it running.
Well, because I know we've only hit the tip of the iceberg down at the highway garage. You know, you still got the grader and the rollers.
Yes.
So,
Building there we got to work on.
and a salt shed that's partially falling down. So I think it makes sense if we have the money to do it now.
Yeah, I think in the long run, something like this, if we're saving
Yeah,
Absolutely.
70,000.
Warranty, got a warranty on it, everything else.
I guess the nice thing is that, the Caterpillar equipment doesn't, it maintains its value for quite a long time. This is the upbeat part of starting to buy a new one.
Yeah.
Wanting to buy a new one.
I so move to approve the purchase of the 2024 Milton Cat 420 XE 07A backhoe loader for the highway department with budgeted funds of including New York State. Should be OGS. Contract discounts in the amount of $143,984.26. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Kies,
Right,
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye. And we need to schedule a public hearing for local law, a new local law amending the Rush Town Code, Chapter 103, senior exemption law.
I'll make the motion to schedule a public hearing for the local law to be determined of 2025. Amending the Rush Town Code, Chapter 103, senior exempt law. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Kies,
Right,
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver.
Aye. That would be 26th at, we're gonna call it 8 o'clock. So we got the
Can
two other
we
town, two other
should go to
hearings.
the next meeting just to make sure we've got time to get it properly noticed.
Oh, okay. So it'll be
It'll
the
be-
first meeting in April. First meeting in April.
Yeah.
is Wednesday night,
Oh.
the 9th,
April 9th,
April 9th at 7:15.
I just figured.
7:15 at the offices of the town hall.
Yes,
Thank you.
26.
April 9th.
April 9th.
Upcoming meetings, Conservation Board meeting tomorrow. Zoning Board meeting March 20th. Planning Board will meet March 25th. Having conducted all business of the town, make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.